So mostly Alexandrovli and Rachuli, they are planted in one place, in one vineyard, most of the time. They look slightly different from each other, but important is that there is more Alexandrovli in the vineyard than Rachuli, because then the mix in the wine must be ideally it's 60% Alexandrovli and 40 Rachuli, but it also depends how the weather and the season gives you, because it can be different each year, of course.
Kamarjoba, hello. Today we are having our traditional Georgian breakfast in Racha in Khvanchkara village that is so famous for its semi-sweet red wine. But I think that today we are tasting slightly more like in the spectrum. So Aleko Sardanashvili is our lovely host and he will guide us through his wines today.
So Aleko, I've got something interesting in my hand.
That's
here.
Tetra. Right. That's dry wine, was fermenting in the barrel. Tetra is famous variety in Racha, so
let me do this the correct way.
I can have a try.
Aleko made sure the table was set up perfectly this morning, so I need to make sure that I show you the label while I pour.
It's fermented on the skin for 3 or 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
3 or 4 weeks?
Yes.
Wow. 100% of skin.
Yes, yeah. But without stems, yes.
So it's Tsolikouri Tetra or Rachuli Tetra, the unfortunately quite lost or forgotten variety of this area, of this beautiful area. This is the second time when we have Tetra on our screen, and I'm very curious to taste it already, because we have never tasted Tetra from the barrel.
This is from the barrel?
Yeah. This is skin contact Tetra from
in
the
barrel.
Yes.
In a very old barrel. I remember seeing,
well,
right?
What we saw there, yes.
How old are those barrels? Any ideas?
70, 80.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's really nice to find a winemaker using barrels here in Georgia. That's a first on this trip for sure. I'm getting a lot of fruit off the nose of this. It's really interesting.
Very round, very
that's
smell.
Barrel wines do have that lovely
fineness,
completeness, just everything. There's nothing really punching you here. The acidity's really nice.
Which year is that? 19?
Yes.
Very young wine, but already
young wine, yes.
It's almost a sort of a classic kind of taste, isn't it? It's a little bit different to a European wine in that it's had that bit more skin contact, but for me, it feels recognisable because of the barrel.
Well, there is one version about the origin of this grape that was brought from Europe.
Really?
Not 100% sure about it, but there is one story about it, and that's why people say it's similar to European wines.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Flavor-wise, it's very interesting. First, it kind of punches you with the acidity, and then it's very broad, sweet-ish, flower taste.
Yeah. So you've been away from Georgia.
Yeah.
And then back. And you decided to come back. Can you tell us a little bit of your backstory? Because I always think that's interesting.
So I lived abroad for several years. Before I lived in Georgia, I studied in Georgia, but then in 2005 I moved to Malta and spent some years there, and 13 I decided to come back to Georgia, but with no general plan, just came back. And then I decided to live here because this is my family house, and my grandparents from here, my father is from here. So since then I started working in the vineyards. We planted some new vineyards, and then we brought this house for guests, and so this winery, winemaking and guest house were connected to each other. So people used to come from different countries, and I was trying to give them the maximum about this region, information, and about living and about wines and food. So that's the idea of this place in general. So when people come, they take maximum knowledge from here. And also my experience abroad, it helped me to work because I worked in the water park, I work in tourism industry in there too, so I had some experience working with people and tourism industry, so that helped me quite a lot here. And also I had some knowledge, not a lot, but I had some base. And since then I'm studying, I'm practicing, developing, trying to. Obviously, I'm not yet on the high level, but I'm trying to move there, and hopefully after some years I will improve my wines and my vineyards. So I'm trying to move forward anyway. Yeah.
Wines are good already, and I should mention that even in this time, you're open. It's possible for people to come and stay here, right?
Yeah.
And the nice thing about here is it's on a main road. There's no nasty off-road to get to anywhere.
Yeah, with any
you can
car.
just come here with any car. And Khvanchkara itself is really famous.
Yeah.
So it's not famous in the English-speaking world, but anyone from the former Soviet Union, if you say Khvanchkara to them, they will have an idea of a semi-sweet red wine.
Yeah, well, it was one of the favorite wines in Soviet republics, in Russia, in Ukraine, in Belarusia. So mostly our Khvanchkara market depended on inside market of Soviet Union, but then obviously started to search for new markets. But so the standard of semi-sweet, what was there, and standard of semi-sweet wine is slightly different now. So now on this level, it's more acceptable probably for European wine lovers and wine drinkers. Which is so Khvanchkara is less sweet than used to be, because before was known as a sweet wine. It's not really was semi-sweet.
Yeah.
Was quite sweet wine. But now it's okay, because many people drink it, have it, and buy it, and
Where can people buy your wine?
Till this year they used to buy only here, because I had quite visitors and they were coming here and buying at the place. Yeah.
But now you're looking for distributors.
This year,
importers pay attention.
Yes, I had some importers visiting, and this year we were planning to export some, but then it didn't work because of this current situation. But then step by step I will start importing. I'm not rushing some things, because when I start to export, must be really high standard and really good wine. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this could work in a number of European markets. So certainly we'll have a chat off camera with our importer friends who've been supporting this series. Maybe they might be of interest to you. We'll have to see. And then we're going to taste a few more wines in a minute.
Yeah.
Let us finish our glasses, and we'll be back soon with some more wines. As promised, we're back with another wine, and this time it's Tsolikouri.
Yes. So Tsolikouri is quite famous variety in Western Georgia. You find Tsolikouri in Imereti. You find Tsolikouri in Lechkomi. So in Lechkomi there is Tsolikouri from Twishi, which is very famous. Tsolikouri in Georgia, not only in Georgia. In Imereti they mix it with tsitska, so it's tsitska Tsolikouri. Probably you tried that, and you know. But Tsolikouri from Racha is not really famous yet. But for me it's quite good dry wine. So this one was fermented in Query for 5 weeks. It has 13 volume alcohol, and it's
You said 5 weeks. You mean 5 weeks skin contact?
Skin contact, full skin contact without stems. Also, yes.
There's a lot of honey and. It's quite big. It's quite big on the nose. It's quite expansive. By the way, in case you think that we're slacking, we have smaller pours today because Aleko has to drive, and so do we. So it's not the usual generous glug glug, but still we get an idea about the wine. And if I do that, you can probably see it a little bit better.
So it's amber from Racha, but also very light. And
Is this been in a barrel as well?
No.
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 Okay.
No.
So Quevrian
No.
steel.
Quarry, yes.
Again, something different to what we've had so far. I've not had
totally.
a Tsolikouri that feels like this.
Different soil, different. Like
Yes, in Tsolikouri is quite different. Yes. Tsolikouri.
But is it the same Tsolikouri that comes from Imereti, or it's kind of Rachuli genetically?
These varieties they come from one place, obviously, but then it developed in different regions differently, and then it's different. It tastes different in Racha than it tastes in Imereti or in Lechumi, obviously. For example, I have some Tsolikouri what I brought from Lechumi. It will grow here. We'll have some grapes, but it will taste different, obviously, than there because different climate, different ground, soil. So.
And that Tsolikouri from Twishi will be different to this Tsolikouri?
Will be also different, yes. But then, time by time, they form their character, the taste. So it will be like native. We will become native to the special place where it is.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah.
How many years have you been making Tsolikouri?
Tsolikouri, it's 4 years.
Great.
4
Yeah,
years.
I think it's a pleasant addition to our collection of different Tsolikouris that we've been tasting in the West.
It has quite high acidity compared to Imeretian one, I should admit.
Yes.
But still nicely balanced. Pleasant drinking wine. Probably pairs better with food than being on its own.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like with certain amount of fat, because like the acidity allows it, I suppose.
Maybe this ham might help. Maybe this slobiani might help. Maybe the cheese might help. I could imagine it could go with some European dishes as well.
Yeah.
Once Aleko decides that he's going to export it, that'll be good. Great. Any other words, questions on this one before we move on?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just the wishes of good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
Cheers.
Same to you.
And we are back with the red wines already, so let me pour it to you first.
This is Saperavi, right, Aleko?
This is Saperavi.
Now,
Rachuli Saperavi.
Saperavi from Khvanchkara.
From here.
That's interesting.
It's not from this village, the grapes. I brought in another village, but from Khvanchkara microzone.
Wow.
I tried one of my friends, winemakers, make Saperavi in Racha, and I tried a couple of times, and then I decided to make also myself because I liked.
It's very cherry.
Yes.
So much cherries.
So it's also first attempt of Saperavi,
really?
like Tetra. Yes.
Quevri or barrel?
No, this is barrel.
Barrel,
Yes,
wonderful.
Yes.
Let's give it a try. Yeah, it's a lot of cherry, and again like cherry bark and like cherry fruit. And
Yeah, but not so tannic. Very smooth.
It's
Very
softer
nice.
than like mainstream Saperavi,
Yes.
what we have in Georgia. Anyway, our taste of wine in this region is softer, more soft than in the eastern part of the country, and because our system is used to it for many centuries, so that's why wines are probably softer and with less tannins because we are used to it than in the east.
So it's about style, not only about climate, you think? So it's about the style.
It's also, but everything works together. People work in the ambient, they see what ambient brings, and then they see what they like in this ambient, and then throughout the centuries, like these forms in food, in wine, and in houses and in everything.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
yeah.
But for example, in Kakheti there is also a lot of sun, and here it's a lot of sun.
Yeah.
But of course, the soil is makes
yes,
difference.
yes.
But the amount of skin is also 100%. But
Also, yes.
is skin contact shorter, or why it's so light and pleasant? What do you think?
3-4 weeks also. This one.
So it's probably also about the kind of this intervarietal difference. So
Yes.
It's certainly a lot brighter than
Yes,
Kakheti.
it's
regular
also,
Saperavi,
yes.
more
You
transparent.
just see that
Yes,
colour.
yes.
It's wonderful. It's almost like a dark raspberry colour.
Yes.
They started to mix Saperavi with Khvanchkara in Soviet Union period.
Right.
And by the law it was permitted, about 10% if I'm not mistaken, to mix. But Saperavi is quite strong variety and it affects a lot the taste. And I'm not for mixing Saperavi and Khvanchkara because Khvanchkara is totally different wine and Saperavi is totally different with totally different characters. So Saperavi separately in Racha is like good wine also. So there is no need to mix these two and change the taste of Khvanchkara.
In general, what's the market for selling wine from Racha? What do you think?
If we develop new markets, new wines, not new wines, like wines what we forgot, because Khvanchkara costs more and grapes cost more, people, like 99% of people plant Alexandroli and Mujuretuli.
Those are the varietals that go into
profitable.
Khvanchkara.
Yes, that's profitable because then they can sell grapes in the harvest time to the factories. 7 lari per kilo, which is like good price in Georgia for grape, quite good price.
Which can be a price of a bottle of like some
Yes,
cheap industrial wine in the
yes,
supermarket.
yes, exactly.
But wait, is there anyone else buying grapes supporting that price?
Government is interfering a lot in this because it's a little bit strange situation. People have stimulus to plant these grapes and grow these vineyards, but then on the market there is no that demand for the grapes.
So what does government do with the
government? First, they subsidize what factories pay. It was like 2 lari per kilo from the 7 what the factories were paying.
Least,
but then what's left, what factories don't buy, the government buys it all.
And what happens to those grapes?
They make spirits and they keep there, so it's nonsense. It's to keep people happy.
So, I mean, just to sum up, we've got this weird situation where we've been driving through Racha. We see a lot of vineyards producing a lot of grapes that are suitable for very expensive grapes, produced for Khvanchkara.
Yes.
It's not all being made into wine. In fact, probably how much percent, maybe...
on the place, a very small percent of these grapes is transformed in wine.
Wow.
In the region, maybe 10%, 15%. Yes, not more, because the rest the companies buy, which come mostly from the east, from Tbilisi, from Kakheti, and they take these grapes. But what's left, then the government takes, and they take away from this region. It doesn't stay here. There are a few factories here in Racha, but they have their own vineyards. So most of the time they don't need to buy other grapes from people here who grow vineyards. So this is like a strange situation. And then we have lots of Khvanchkara everywhere in the world, and then it's hard to understand how the system really works.
It's amazing because yesterday we had a bottle of Khvanchkara. I'm not going to say where, but it cost 75 lari in that setting, and quite often Khvanchkara could cost 90 lari, which is about 30 bucks in Tbilisi.
It's quite expensive.
So it's like this weird situation that the price is being inflated, because quite easily more could be produced and the price could fall.
Yes, the future, I think the future in this region is in the wineries. There must be more wineries, more wine must be produced in this place, in this region, and this must be protected by the law, because there is this project of the law that all the grapes must be worked here, and wine must be bottled here.
That's a good idea.
Khvanchkara,
short distances.
It's
much more ecological.
They've been
better quality.
Trying for 10 years to pass this law, and so it's not working.
Is there an opportunity, say, for somebody? Maybe we've got somebody far away that says, "I want to make a winery. I don't necessarily want to do the work on the vines." could they make a winery here
Yes.
and buy the grapes?
Yes,
Save
yes.
So we're not just bringing you wine; we're bringing you investment
Well,
opportunities.
that's the future in wineries here. There is no future only in vineyards, because then
There are
the
enough
government
vineyards,
one
but
day
not enough
will
wine.
say, "Look, I don't want. I have nowhere to take your wine and your grapes." Okay, and then
That's it.
something bad will happen, obviously, to the region. So we must develop step by step, develop more wineries on higher standards, with like better equipment, with
That will
better
buy the
knowledge.
grapes from the
Yes,
people and make them into something good.
exactly. I can say on my example that if I'm like more developed, if I'm more better equipped in Marani and in my winery in general, I will work like double or triple grapes what I work now. So for sure I will need to buy more grapes from my neighbors.
But
right?
you also need to educate them to work.
Yes, people
like
must educate, must be
organically, more or
educated.
less, or like what's the situation? Do people use systematic?
In Racha, it's not that bad like in some other regions because people mostly use chemicals, contact chemicals, and mostly use copper to spray. So more or less the situation in that sense is okay. But if if it goes like it goes now, after some time, there will be like more industrial vineyards, big vineyards, where obviously they
Some other
use what
preparations.
they want. So it will change also.
How do
yeah.
you work?
I work with copper mostly
So
and with contact chemicals because I'm not concentrated on selling grapes. I'm concentrating on making wine. So I drink most of the wine still, what I make. So
good.
I must drink good wine.
So
That's always a good indication for a winemaker.
and
Yeah.
my toast will be for you to sell more wine to people who will appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're in Tbilisi, demand it in the wine shops. Say we want Aleko Saperavi.
And finally, the host is serving to us famous Khvanchkara, one of the most expensive wines in Georgia. But as we discovered, basically a lot of vineyards are just selling their wines for nothing. So let's give it a try. Let's give it a try to understand why is it so popular in former Soviet Union. And
This wine has changed from being a sweet wine to a
To
semi-sweet
semi-sweet.
wine, right?
Yes. Because
Good.
we are getting to European standards.
And there's no Saperavi in here.
No. Only Alexandroli and
Give us
Mujuratoli.
the percentages of the grapes.
It's ideally it's 60% Alexandroli, 40% of Mujuratoli, but it depends like how the season brings this harvest, and it's not always the same. It can play, but important that Alexandroli is more than Mujuratoli. So Mujuratoli doesn't overtake the taste.
So what does Mujuratoli bring to the assemblage?
Mujuratoli adds some like fruit flavor and more sweetness.
More sweetness, so it has more sugar.
Yes, and not quite a lot, much more than Alexandroli, but it has some special taste, which like adds to Alexandroli and makes like special wine.
So there are you can grow Alexandroli and bottle it separately in here or in Kakheti, for example, but Mujuratoli is too small, right? So Mujuratoli is the grape that makes Khvanchkara assemblage so special, right?
Yes.
So you grow these grapes together in the vineyard.
Yes.
And they get picked
Usually they are planted together in one vineyard, and then they are picked together. Yes, because they get the harvest period in the same period.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this is really not too sweet.
No, it's very pleasant.
Yep.
I could have this for dessert, or colder would be
Slightly
lovely.
colder. And basically, it can be served instead of a dessert if you are on diet, for example.
For example,
So instead of cake or I don't know ice cream, I would just order a glass of this and have much better time probably.
Yeah, it would go nicely with an espresso as well. Little espresso.
Yep.
This, maybe a cigar. I don't know.
So
Me
with
quite
the
like
the cigar,
wine,
we
so-
tried Tsolikouri here.
Ah, really?
It's here is
Okay.
the tradition to smoke
Okay.
cigar.
Typical
with
Rachvilian tradition.
yeah, yes, yes,
Tsolikouri.
yes, yes.
That's how Kipiani and Tsolikouri did in the good times probably.
Maybe.
So yeah, the historical background is that in Racha there were two main kind of noble families, Kipiani and Tsolikouri. And there are, like, for example, Khvanchkara was named Kipiani wine because this family made it really popular. So Prince Kipiani brought it to the other level of awareness, at least. And Tsolikouri family was famous for its Tetra. And in the Soviet time, basically the name of the noble family was eliminated from the kind of official naming of the grape, and it became Rachuli Tetra. That's how we know it now. And now we are tasting Kipiani wine, basically. What used to be.
How often do you drink Khvanchkara Aleko?
I drink less than other wines.
Yeah.
Mostly I drink Tsolikouri and Tetra. But sometimes I drink in the evening, like a glass or two, because it helps me to relax, because it has this character to keep you calm, and and also with my guests, obviously.
Yeah, your guests, they like this?
Yes. There is no lot of people in the world who drink semi-sweet wine. It's like limited amount still in the world of drinkers who drink semi-sweet wine, but still people who come here, they drink it. Most of them, they like it. At least that's what they tell me. So
We've got one of them off camera who just put her hand up, and so we're definitely taking a bottle or two away with us. Do you think that Khvanchkara has a future in the wine business?
Yes.
And if it does,
but right direction.
Right. So what
Yes.
is that direction that needs to happen?
Yes, the direction is that we must adapt to new standards and new standards of the semi-sweet or sweet or semi-dry or dry, and we must work more on what our customers want and where we are heading. And it has future, obviously. I'm not saying that we don't sell in Russia or where we must sell everywhere. It's demanded, but we must search for new markets, and we must give it to more people possible. So then we don't have this problem that the government has to buy the grapes. And then the business itself will develop and industry will use its own material in grapes. So this is the future. Yeah.
More standards.
More standards, yes.
Yeah.
Higher
Quality.
standards. But also the competition. But competition
So
in
more wineries
good understanding of subject. Not like some competitor is the enemy or something. No.
Yeah.
Like
Ecosystem.
Good winery, then you try to do better, or maybe somebody knows something what you don't know and get some knowledge from or it works like that everywhere in the world, so it must work even here like that.
Yeah.
So
I have a
that's
question that perhaps our viewers might like to know is, how does this arrive at being semi-sweet? Is there any process?
To make semi-sweet, obviously you need high level of sugar in the grapes.
So when do you harvest?
Beginning of October,
Beginning of October.
mostly, yes.
Uh-huh.
But it depends on the season. If the season is too dry and hot, it can be end of September, but very end of September. Also, if season is not really good, must wait a little bit, maybe somewhere till the middle of October. It depends on the weather. Yeah, so it must be at least 25% of sugar in the grape.
Okay.
And it starts from 25, can go to 27, 28, and then fermentation period, and see that it does not become dry.
You need to stop it by cold.
Yes, cold mostly, because I leave for 10 days around on skin, full skin, which is slightly different technique of making Khvanchkara in this region. People don't leave it that long, usually 2-3 days, or just ferment the the juice of the grape.
So it's so dark that the juice is already red.
Yeah.
color.
For in this period, it can take some more from grapes.
Mhm.
It can get some more character from the skin. That's why I leave it. But then you have to see that it does not start to become dry,
Mhm.
and remove from the skin and take it in the I take underground, and then there is this process when it has the it's little bit complicated to keep it at home, semi-sweet wine, and also Khvanchkara must be very attentive and very careful, because I don't use fridge for that. I have just underground cellar
Mhm.
where I keep. So must look wherever there is a sediment. Take from one glass to another glass, so because that can provoke the
Mhm.
second fermentation. So it's a
Do
little
you
bit
add a
complicated.
Bit of sulfites, or how
I
is
add
it?
little bit,
Mhm.
yes, minimum amount, which does not feel like in the wine, and that's it, nothing else.
Mhm.
How many bottles are available every year?
Last year I had 600 liters of Khvanchkara,
Yeah, like
but
six something.
I have new vineyards, and I'm planning to have 1,000, 1,500 bottles a year
Great.
with some other wines. So, yeah.
Well, it's pleasing to see that there's somebody that's working according to natural ways, producing semi-sweet wines here in Khvanchkara.
Mhm.
So thank you very much for hosting
Thank
us
you.
today.
You're welcome.
Galmarjos.
Gamajos.